Welcome to Lubera, the Swiss fruit and berry plant producers and breeders. My name is Markus Kobold, I'm founder and breeder of Lubera. And today I have you on my terrace in our North German nursery. I'm here, it's Sunday morning and I have nothing to do, and what else to do than videoing and talking a little bit about fresh picked apples, about the Lubera apple varieties. You know, sometimes people are saying to us, why don't you have all varieties of apples? Why you are only specializing on your own bred apple? I know my own bred apples like my children, so it's best for me to sell them because I know what to say about them, and they're bred for this time, for today, for modern people with good teeth, which can, with like crisp apples, hard, firm apples with good juice, with good texture. So in the 19th century, people didn't have any teeth anymore when they were 40 or 55 like me, and so they wanted other apples. So it's better to have today's apples for today's people. And the other thing I hear often is, why don't you have so many apples? I think there is a bounty and beauty of different apples out there which aren't invented anymore. So I'm breeding for better apples, for apples which are resistant in the garden, for apples which have, at least in the second year, are full of apples, for apples which are from early to late. I'm breeding for apples which have all different tastes, and so I try to bring more experience in your fruit garden, which can be done the best with modern today bred varieties. And often people also say we have too many varieties, and that's the reason I try to explain in this video a little bit three bicolored varieties. This is Paradis Utopia, this is Paradis Elegance, and this is Paradis Myra. So you see, this is a small to middle-sized apples, Paradis Utopia. Paradis Elegance is a very big apple, and Paradis Myra is a in-between apple, which is middle-sized, whether very small, whether nor very big. And all three apples are picked in September, October. So Elegance and Utopia you can pick normally middle of September, and Utopia normally you are picking beginning of October. And the tree of all three are tolerant to scab. So the tolerance in Elegance and Utopia is a little bit better than in Myra, and Elegance is a little bit better than in Utopia, but all three are tolerant to scab. So no scab in your garden normally, which makes the culture much easier. You don't have to spray because scab is the most important disease in apples in the garden. So what to do next? I think we have to try the three apples and to discuss a little bit the differences. So first is Paradis Utopia. The flesh is yellow-white. The texture is the best of all three varieties. There is high acidity, high sugar, but the acidity is a little bit dominant. And there is a bounty and beauty of ripened apple aroma, I could say it. It's typical ripened apple aroma, and if you want the ripened apple aroma, you have to eat this Paradis Utopia. But also if you eat and plant Paradis Utopia, you have to like a little bit more acid apples, because the balance between acidity and sugar is here more on the side of the acidity, and a very good texture which gives the juice suddenly to your tongue, to your mouth. Then we go to the other side, to Paradis Myra, more white flesh. It seems now softer than Paradis Utopia, but we know that in storage, also in a normal storage in your cellar, it's very stable, so the firmness doesn't go down. It even becomes a little bit better. It's the only variety I know where the firmness becomes better in storage, in the durage of the storage than before. The juiciness is good, but the texture is not really the same as in Utopia. Utopia is better, but it's a total different experience. It's a sweet apple, a sweet apple. Paradis Myra is now a sweet apple, like Gala or like Fuji. And I know, and I can say you, that if you store it, the sweetness becomes broader and more aromatic, so even better than now. That's the reason we name it also our Christmas apple, because at Christmas it's just the sweet apple, the best sweet apple you can imagine. Because now, when eating, now beginning of October, it still has starch, which is not changed into sugar, and it still has some aroma ingredients which are not open now, which only become open when more ripened in the cellar. So the skin has also a blue skin a little bit, you see it here, and in storage it becomes bright orange. So a very good sweet apple, which through the storage becomes even better. So of these three varieties, Utopia, Elegance and Myra, Myra is the one which develops better in storage, which when you store it, it just becomes wonderful. And if you eat it now, it's just a sweet apple, which is also okay, because it's a difference to the other apples, but it can become better through storage. And these two varieties they can be eaten from now on, and they are just good. So the third one, you can imagine, it's a little bit the compromise of all these two apples before. It has just everything. It's big, which can be an advantage, not always when you have children, but if you like big apples. This one is a big apple. It's perfect to make slices, to share it on the table, to share it with your family, to share it with your parents, to share it with your children. And it's just perfect. It has acidity, it has sugar in the right balance. The one people will say it's an acid variety, the other people will say it's a sugar, it's a sweet variety, and it is both. And texture is fantastic, just as good as here in Utopia. And so it's really the compromise of these apples. There will be nobody out there which will say this one is not a good apple. Here with Myra, there will be some people who believe in more acid, more fruity, more aromatic varieties, which will say it's just sweet. Well, it's too sweet for me. And here will be other people, here with Utopia, which believe in very sweet apples, which will say, it's too acid for me, I don't like it. But this one, Elegance, will be liked by everybody. So, what to do? You have to plant in your garden at three apple trees. Go out and plant today or tomorrow an apple tree. And of course, if possible, from our Lubera varieties. Go on gardening. Where have all the flowers gone? I know where. Here you go to Lubera.co UK with all our breedings and thousands of more plants. Here you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and now pick the flowers.